This is the Horse Radio Network.
This is episode 231 of the Dressage Radio Show on the Horse Radio Network. This episode is sponsored by Equisketch. McCall from Jupiter, Florida.
And this is Regina Cristo from Sand Lake, New York, and you're listening to the Dressage Radio Show, brought to you this week by the United States Para-Equestrian Association. And we also have our producer, Coach Jen, with us.
Hi-ho, everybody.
Hi. We haven't had you on before with us, Jennifer.
No, you were dealing with a rank amateur today. Glenn is on stall rest today. So I am temporarily taking over production duties. So hopefully, if everything goes according to plan, you won't hear much from me. But I'm very, very excited about your two guests that you have on today. Tell me about them.
Sure. Well, before Reese and Philip come back next week. So we have Wes Dunham on today, and we also have Mike Poulin on today. And Wes Dunham, he was a Paralympic coach of Donna Panessa back in 2012 at the Paralympics. He's also a horse owner. And he is now coaching Sydney Collier. And hopefully they'll be headed this year to Florida and hopefully one day to Rio. We'll see what happens. But he is an FEI trainer. He has a full-blown barn up in New York, Millbrook, New York. And we're looking forward to speaking with him. And we also have a co-host. My co-host here today is Regina Cristo, and she's a Paralympic horse owner. She is very involved with the Paralympians. She's a dressage rider herself, very accomplished dressage rider. And she was helping me out today as my co-host. So tell me a little bit about Mike Poulin.
Oh, thank you so much, Lindsay. It's great to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me. Mike Poulin he is a Olympic rider, which I think most people probably know. He has a big facility up in Maine, and he is the current coach of one of our riders for the U.S., Mary Jordan. They've been working together for some time now, and they have some high hopes of being successful this year together as a team.
So, Regina, tell us a little bit about you and kind of how you got involved with Para, because I like to ask that question to everybody.
Okay, well, I'd love to answer that. I got involved with Para probably around 2008. I organized a fairly large show up in Saratoga, New York, a dressage show, and we offered para-equestrian classes for the first time in 2008. I secured a big cash sponsor and put it out to the community that we were offering para with prize money, and we had one para rider show up, which I was happy, and that was Donna Panessa. And that is how I started my world with para, became friends with Donna, and it's just blossomed from there.
And as a horse owner, kind of what have you done? How have you been involved with that?
Well, that started in 2010, and I had actually offered my horse up to any of the para riders in the U.S. who were going to be going for the selection trials for the World Equestrian Games. I have a wonderful horse with a great brain and very trained. And at the time, nobody needed a horse. So I was encouraged by Hope Hand to put him up on an international website where other riders were coming from all different countries. And if they weren't bringing their own horse, they needed to borrow one. And long story short, a top rider from Argentina contacted me. He came with his coach. They tried my horse after trying many horses, and they picked him, and off to the World Equestrian Games we went a few weeks later. That was my first experience, and it was a wonderful experience, from getting my horse a passport to all the travel arrangements that had to be made, and just dealing with another country. The language barrier was quite interesting. But I must say, my husband and I have made lifelong friends with our friends in Argentina, and it was a super experience. My next experience was the next the next year in 2011 when I loaned my horse to a top rider from Mexico, and we did a couple of CDIs with her, and that was also an awesome experience, and my horse just went with the flow and helped her a lot. And I'd like to also mention that both of those riders got their qualifying scores, and they both competed in London this past fall from rides that they had with my horse. My last as an owner, so I've done this 3 times, was loaning my horse to American rider Elizabeth Piggott, who rode in the selection trials in 2012. And although she did not make the team, she was longlisted and did a absolutely fantastic job with it. So I've been proud to have those 3 owner experiences.
And as a horse owner, how involved do you have to be?
Well, I think that can vary from situation to situation. My situation, I was with my horse pretty much every step of the way for all the traveling, all the training, and I was lucky that I had the time to do that. It's a great process. It's wonderful to watch para-riders, watch your horse adapt to the rider, watch the rider adapt to the horse. And I basically traveled all over. I kept my horse fit and all the things that you need to be a top horse, and it was very fulfilling. You know, one of the things people were always saying to me is how, oh, you're so wonderful to lend your horse, and the riders were so grateful. And it's so important that people know if they have a wonderful horse that they think might be a great para horse, they need to do it. It's an absolutely extraordinary experience to watch what happens to your horse under a para rider. And in reality, you are working and trying to make someone's dream come true, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's really exciting, and I think it was really neat to have, we include the owners in everything we do, and I thought it was really exciting just in London having you guys there and having everybody kind of just to throw ideas off of and talk about the future with and consider all that. And it's neat how involved as an owner you are, and I know not all owners have to be involved, and we have big owners and syndicates with the able-bodied dressage world, but we also can have that with para too, and I think it's wonderful how involved you are as a rider yourself and a horse owner.
Well, thank you. Like I said, it is truly a wonderful experience, and although my horse and his rider did not make it on the London team, my husband and I traveled to London because we believe in supporting the whole team as one, because it really is a team effort by so many people to get over there and just be supportive of one another. You know, I'm in a little town in New York, and my horse is at a small barn, but it just goes to show there are horses out there, and people, anyone listening to this show, if you have, you know, a wonderful horse that you might think could be a great para partner for somebody, you know, I'd be happy to talk to anybody at any time and just really let them know what a great experience it is. And, you know, get those horses out there. We need these wonderful horses.
And Regina, is the best way to get a hold of you on Facebook?
Yep, I can be reached on Facebook, and I believe my email address is also up there. And if you just Google my name, I belong to a couple organizations, and my contact information is on their website. And I'd be happy to speak to anybody about being an owner. It's quite a wonderful thing.
So we're going to switch gears here a little bit, and we have Wes Dunham on today. Hi, Wes. How are you today?
I'm very good. And yourself?
I'm very well. And for the listeners out there, it's Lindsay McCall, and we have Wes Dunham here as our guest, and I have my co-host this week is Regina Cristo.
Hi, you guys. How you doing tonight?
Well, I'm doing great. Wes, where are you right now? Are you traveling?
I'm actually in Millbrook, New York. I just got back from Texas. And
were you guys showing there?
No, we went to Kai Han's place, actually, to look at horses. And they've actually shipped home, and they've been here about 3 days, so I'm really excited about them.
Oh, wow. That's really exciting. So I kind of want to know how you got involved with para from the beginning.
That was a little bit by chance. I had a student that was riding with me, and she had a friend down at Vanessa and asked if that I could give her a few riding lessons, and she was headed to California to compete. And I gave her a lesson, and then she went on to California and competed, and then came back and started riding with me. So it wasn't really anything planned. It was just a simple dressage lesson and a lot of me figuring out how to adapt dressage into somebody that had limited, shall we say, use of her legs.
Right, right.
And that's how it all began.
And how long did you work with Wes, or with Donna, Wes?
I worked with her probably about a year before we went to selection trials and then on to the Paralympics.
Wow, that's a pretty amazing journey in a short time.
It was extremely short time, and we were really, really lucky to represent the United States, and it's something that I'll never forget, and it was a real honor to work with her and the U.S. team.
And you were a horse owner there, too, correct?
Yes, I was.
And what was that like?
Go ahead. It was a learning experience for me, and I really, really enjoyed it. And I was very proud to see my horse with Donna in that venue, and owning the horse for quite some time before Donna started riding her, I think helped us a lot because I knew quite a few of her idiosyncrasies, and we figured out, how to make her work for Donna and Donna's skill set, and of course Donna's riding ability increased tremendously. She rode 6 days a week here at the farm.
Wow, that's amazing. And now you're working with Sydney Collier now as a para-equestrian. Tell me a little bit about that.
Sydney's great. I love her and her family. I met them at a Robert Dover clinic in Gladstone, actually, for the first time. And then they came out to selection trials and our nationals, I believe it was, and borrowed a horse and went on and competed, and we kept in touch, and we went back and forth, and then they decided that they wanted to really get serious about making a bid at Rio. And I said, well, first we have to get an appropriate horse, and we literally looked at about 100 videos online and narrowed it down to our 3 or 4 candidates, and then from there we found one that we were willing to go look at, and that was a referral from Robert Dover, which was really incredible. We flew to Canada and tried the horse, fell in love with him, and they made arrangements to own him, and he's been in our barn just about a year now, I think, and he's just been an amazing horse. And Sydney and her mom have made a great deal of sacrifices. They moved from Michigan out here to New York to train with me, and her dad and her 2 brothers are still in Michigan, and they come out and visit when they can. Yeah, they really have made a huge commitment to try to make the para team and just up the quality of horses that we get to see at this next selections.
Wow, that's pretty impressive, Wes. I know Sid and her mom and the horse. I've seen them a lot this summer, and you all should have a lot to be proud of. Let me ask you this. When you're looking for horses, Wes, for your para students, what are a couple of the most important things you need to find in a horse? There are 2 very key things that I look at when we're looking for a para horse.
The very first and most important part for me is that the horse is sound and can pass an FBI jog. If we can't get past the soundness with no medications, I won't even go look at the horse. The second thing is that the horse has a great brain and is very smart and intelligent, kind. And then, of course, the third thing are the quality of the gaits. But that is the last thing that I look at, but it is a very key, important factor in choosing a horse.
And Wes, when we're looking at Sydney for choosing that horse, so if we looked at her as a rider, what are you kind of considering with her disability for that horse? Kind of how do you pair those two?
Well, Sydney, I don't know if everybody knows, has pretty much no use of one whole side of her body, and the other side is limited. So when I pair her up with a horse, I let the horse make the decision. I put her on the horse or horses, and we do simple walk-halt transitions. She rides with one hand, and we try them in the snaffles first to see how they're going to respond. And if everything goes well, then I let her trot, and then we ride figures. It's very interesting to me is that quite often the horse chooses the rider, not the other way around.
That's great. That's great. It's so important to have a wonderful match between the horse and the rider to be successful and just have a great time together. And Wes, I also wanted to ask you, what do you think at this point the U.S. needs to do to become top competitors at the Paralympics and at the upcoming other large events like the World Equestrian Games? What's the case?
I think for me, and this is just my own opinion after being to the Paralympics, I think we need to up the quality of the horses that are going or being considered to go. After being there, I remember, I think it was, watching the Dutch team unload their horses and watching them go into the stabling area, and my jaw just hit the ground. I was like, oh my goodness. There wasn't one horse that got off that van that I wouldn't have taken in my own barn. I was just like, wow. And then to watch, the top teams that were first, second, and third, the same thing applied. I mean, we were right there in the hot seat, trying to get into the medals, and we were really, really close. But I think going forward, we really need to be looking at the quality of our horses that we're thinking of taking, and just encouraging the riders to get the best quality horse that they can to take to selection trials.
Yeah, I agree, Wes. And I think also the word just needs to get out to people that we are looking for these types of horses, and horse owners who might be willing to step up to the plate for riders in our country. These horses are out there. And, I hope to see in the future that people realize how wonderful the para program is and that we can be competitive. I agree.
Yeah, I agree with that statement. Absolutely. It's not like we don't have riders that are not dedicated. I mean, you see time and time again riders out there, hustling and working and really a real drive to do well, and then some of them not having the quality animal that is needed for international competition. And that being said, there's also, the need for national horses that people can get experience and work their way up through the ranks as we continue to grow in the para discipline.
And Wes, I know how it's very important to have that right horse and that right rider, and it's also important to have the right, I guess, fitness and routine. What kind of routine do you and Sydney have, and with the horse, with training and everything involved? What does your guys' week look like usually?
Much like Donna was when she was riding with me, Sydney's required to go to the gym. She's required to be with physical fitness trainers that are knowledgeable with her abilities and disabilities as far as what she can and can't do. And that's her responsibility to keep herself in shape and to find people that can help her with that. And then we, here at the farm, she rides. Right now she's riding 2 horses to keep her skill level up, and hopefully in a very short amount of time we'll be up to 3. And then she was also required to take, I guess, public relations, how to present herself to the public and how to speak appropriately to the public. And then I require her to do some sort of community service type thing and give back to the community or the equestrian community at large. So I run kind of a tight ship. But if you want to be at that level, you need to be really well-rounded.
Of course. Oh, definitely. And that plan that you put together, just is the kind of plan you need to be successful. It's not just popping on the horse a couple times a week and calling it a day. All those things add up to the success at the end of the day. And I know many para riders, especially ones who are shooting for the international level, and that's what they do. It's hard work. These are, hard-working athletes, and they just have to do it to be successful.
Yes, absolutely. And, you see the para riders that are at the top or working their way up, you see that they're in the gym, that they're out exercising and keeping themselves fit. And you see, if you follow any of them, that they are doing and trying to help get the word out there that para-dressage is an important part of dressage, and that we are trying to become a force to be reckoned with internationally, and we have a ways to go, but I think we can get there.
Definitely. And I have to ask this question. I know this is throwing us back to where we were in the beginning of our program here, but I just have to ask. I know Sydney rides with one hand, and how did you guys come up with that?
When I first met Sydney, she rode with 2 hands, but her one hand was not really effective. And it was sort of secured to the rein. And I had seen in London a number of riders that were riding one-handed, and Hope had told me that I had to get Sydney riding with one hand, and we kind of tried it a few times, and then Kai actually, gave us a reference of John Wayne, try to ride like the movies in John Wayne, and a lot of trial and error. But it just kind of happened, and it was one of those things that once we released the arm that she has no control of, her riding really started improving from there.
And I've heard this is a technique some able-bodied riders use as well. Is that true?
Yes. Yeah, you see you see that quite you see it in some of the freestyles in the upper level Grand Prix riders, or in the freestyles where they'll do a little bit of showmanship, but at the same time to just show that the horse is truly self-carriage, and and so why not para athlete?
Right. Well, Wes, we just want to thank you so much for coming on our show today with Regina and I, and we thank you for all of your expertise, and we look forward to seeing you here in the future. You're heading to Florida next, correct?
I believe that's what our plans are. We're going to hopefully do the, correct me if I'm wrong, CEBDI 3-star.
Yes.
In Florida with Sydney, and logistics, we're kind of looking at how much time we can be down there, but at least the horses will be there a week before competition.
Well, wonderful. Well, thank you again.
No problem, and thank you for having me, and I hope I was helpful, and I look forward to doing it again sometime.
Wes was a wonderful interview, huh, Regina?
Oh, definitely. I've known Wes for a number of years now and have been to many shows with him when he's been coaching his para riders, and he's a super coach and a great person to represent Para-Dressage.
And right after this, after this commercial from EquiSketch, we'll be back with our next guest, Mike Poulin.
Glenn the Geek here. The life of horse person is hard enough, and we all hate doing the required paperwork, and unfortunately many of us never get around to it, and it just piles up on our desk. That is about to change thanks to the EquiSketch Records app for your iPhone or iPad. My wife and I use it to track our horses, and we absolutely love this thing. EquiSketch Records is the most thorough and complete equestrian records app on the market today. We love this app because you can track your farrier work, your dental, your coggins, medicines, worming, and so much more. And you can get reminders on your device when all of these things are due. You'll never forget a worming or shots or farrier visit again. But it not only tracks your horse, you can also manage your horse shows, including individual events. You can manage riders, including lessons and memberships, and so much more. And you can sync it between your iPhone and your iPad, and all of this for the price of a couple of cups of coffee from Starbucks. Search for EquiSketch Records in the iOS App Store or go to EquiSketch.com. That's EquiSketch.com. EquiSketch.com.
Hi, Mike. It's nice to have you on the show today, and I want to let you know you're not only here with me, Lindsay McCall, but you're also here with Regina Cristo.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
I know you're new to the para world, and you're an Olympian, you're a trainer, you're doing so many wonderful things in this world, and now you're also teaching a para-dressage rider. So I kind of want to know how you started training this para-dressage rider. Where did this come from?
Well, first of all, let me say that it's an honor to work with him. Have been an Olympian and coached at Olympic Games several times, and lived in Germany, and I lived in a lot of states, a lot of countries for many years, and I saw the para riders ride. And I guess the thing about it that still impressed me today is the power of their dream, that their efforts, that they try. And I was always impressed at their never give up attitude, and that they were so dedicated to it. And I did watch quite a bit of it, to be honest with you, but I was never in a position to help them. And now that I am, I'm excited to do that. And of course that I got introduced to it more by Mary Jordan,
Mm-hmm.
found that their intensity is very, very similar to what I've gone through. And I've trained also 3 other people to be Olympians, so I know what it's like to train somebody to be at that level. And it takes quite a bit of discipline in the sense of the trainer plus the rider. You have to have a lot of ability to see forward in time. Now, they really, it's just amazing that they put in such an effort. I'm extremely fit at my age, and I find it difficult to sit at a level, and I'm still training people to be Olympians. And here it is, I watch Mary, who has a physical deficiency on the left side, and the seat and so forth. And she still goes on with an attitude that's sometimes so much better. To me, that's the power of the dream is extremely inspiring for me to do something for them and to try to help support them in a mental way plus a physical way, getting them in shape physically and using enough understanding of their deficiency when you're training them. To me, very, very exciting. I really am looking forward to helping as many as I possibly can.
This is Regina. I can agree with most everything you're saying about the hard work, the dedication, the dreams. I've been around para riders, and as a para horse owner, I've been up close and personal, and you're exactly right. The dedication is second to none, and it takes a lot of hard work and dedication to be at the top of this game. Can you tell us a little bit about what you like to see your para riders doing for fitness and to stay in shape and happy to be a top athlete?
Well, I think the first thing is understanding that dressage has to do with balance. It's a lot of balancing. You have to balance the horse. The horse has to balance himself, first of all. And I feel that their ability to stay in shape is, of course, less than somebody like me, that I can exercise, run, swim, and do all of that stuff. Well, sometimes they can't be as physically active. So I think watching their diet is paramount so that they stay nourished and stay so active and physically strong enough. So here at Pineland, which I've been working with for some time now, going on to 3.5, 4 years, and I started with them when they were just training level riders. And Gwyneth is now kind of almost ready to compete Grand Prix, and she was intermediate 2 reserve champion. So I learned this many years ago. I was also a martial artist for many, many years, so I have a background in more of the discipline part mentally. I learned that the responsibility of an instructor is on the problems of the student, create them. So I look for avenues that I can help them take and succeed wherever they have a deficiency. And I found that the most important thing is that I'm very honest, not blunt, but I'm honest with them. Honest in the sense that I look now, number one, your attitude is you're too aggressive, and you need to be more passive. Or if I have somebody that's too passive, I'll say, well, look, you're not active enough, you're not aggressive enough, you're too passive. So allowing the animal to do this and that, and then he's going to take advantage of it. So that's just a simple example. So I try to use different avenues of the teaching process to stimulate them in a way that they become more productive. That's the key thing. And I've found that never should you be, if I'm teaching somebody like one tempi flying changes, I don't say, such as an example, well, you do this every single time. You make that same mistake. That's a negative input. I say, look, what we need to do is to evaluate what's happening. Try to establish a correction that is more mentally geared towards the process of creating a correction that is promoting the process of developing the one-tempies, not necessarily forcing them, so that when we're done, we have a better product. So I think the attitude of the is vital, that I promote the confidence and from that approach as a trainer, and I can produce a cure for the problem and not a preventive. And I use the same thing with Mary when I train with her, and I use the same thing with, like Carol Lavelle, who I trained for the Olympics at London twice. She was an Olympian. And it's always been very, very successful. And Michael Barrison as well, he was an Olympian. And from that, they end up having confidence.
Now, Mike, I'd like to ask you a question also. A lot of people see you as a very successful, international star with dressage. And now that you are coaching one of our very hopeful para-equestrians, I would think that it would be hopeful that other, upper-level trainers like yourself would see the world of para and how great it is and the competitiveness and the athleticism that people need to be able to be successful in the para discipline. What are your thoughts about, do you think you're going to be influencing others to step up and get into the para world?
I don't think there's a lot of trainers out there that appreciate the effort that the para people are putting into they see them as deficient, the deficient people. They see them in a light that is.
How do we change? Because that is a crutch for the para-discipline that, quite frankly, is so wrong. And I see folks like you stepping up and working. How can we change that?
But I think what we can do is, I think the third fortune is, Mary is very, very, she's a very good rider. I just spent a week or so in Europe with her watching her ride the other horses. She has the same problem with every horse on one side because of the physical problems she has. But, you know, when you teach her in a logical manner, she pretty much rectifies it and gets, 80% of it under control if you don't try to intimidate or hassle her, but you're productive in how you teach her. So as a trainer, I can do that because I have a lot of experience. But the general trainers don't want to be involved in it because they say, well, I don't get much success out of it. I don't feel as if I'm making much of a difference. When you don't realize it, well, we're making more of a difference because here it is, I have somebody that has no legs and they're doing 2 tracks. And it's like, my God, it's amazing. I think what we need to do is we need to have more publicity of para people that can express what dressage has done for them mentally. It's kept some of them alive. It's motivating them. It's giving them a reason, a hope to succeed at something that is so difficult. So if we could have more interviews like CNN, if we get several of these people on the TV and to talk about it and have people look at them and then get sponsors that are involved that would sponsor a horse. As we well know, we need talented, easy riding horses that are talented but can go so that these people can be successful. And then we need a program that allows these horses to be networked within the para group. Like, say if Mary makes the team and wins a medal, say hypothetically she gets a horse and does that, then this horse should be taken on just by another rider. It shouldn't be allowed to stay with Mary. Let's bring along another horse. Let's bring along another rider. Let's get the group of para riders to participate in a international dressage forum. Get them to ride in the forum so that all the FEI, like I'm a 4-star judge, there's no reason why all the 4-star judges can't see these people and judge them. Get that coordinated with the actual FEI, normal CDI, International Judges Forum. They ride, they demonstrate, and the judges have to judge the para rider in accordance to the rules of para. That needs to be exposed to the judges because most judges don't want to judge that. And then when they judge them, they don't know what they're judging.
Yeah, and Michael, I organize a show here in New York, the Dressage of Saratoga show, and we started offering para in 2008. We had one rider show up the first year, but it's been getting better and better. We have a big sponsor that gives us a lot of money to sponsor the para. And I feel from all the shows that I've been to that maybe management just doesn't understand the whole process of para. And I think that's something that's being worked on now to make everything, fair. And, everyone has a responsibility. The management has responsibility. The riders have responsibility. And I think, moving forward, trying to really mesh those two together so everyone has an excellent experience.
So we need to expose the management. We need to expose them to the FEI. We need to expose them to the TV programs. We've got to get them out. We've got to get these people out and have them talk. Some of these people are brilliant people.
I know it can be difficult, and folks like you and other trainers, respected trainers, are hopefully going to help para turn that corner for para, so everybody can really see truly what it's about and how wonderful and fantastic a program it is. One last question in regards to horses. We all know it's difficult for anybody to get a great horse with a great brain that's athletic, that can do the movements, and most of all has a great brain and is safe for different riders with their, limited disabilities in some cases. Where do you think is a good place to start trying to get these horses from, because not everyone has a ton of money. Do you have any suggestions on where we could look for horses?
Well, I think first what you need to do, I think this Pineland Corporation in New Gloucester, Maine, it's a 501c3, and it's a nonprofit organization. And I think we don't have enough people out networking to get people that have good upper-level horses, especially, and I think Craig Denicus, who's the head of the program, and Glenn McPherson, who's the head trainer there, Mary knows it quite well, would be really, really inspiring to get them involved in the sense that they would allow people to donate the horse to the Pineland Corporation, the 501c3, and then they get a tax write-off. And then we could form a group of knowledgeable, intelligent horsemen that have the hearts in the right place. And then you get 4 horses donated, and they get a write-off. The tax people get a write-off. I mean, these people get a write-off tax-wise, and Greg Dennis goes along with this. You form an advisory committee to Pineland, and they select the horses to go to different para-riders. And Glen's an excellent teacher, and you've got also that Jennifer Dillon up there, who's amazing. She's fabulous. And then you have a working student of mine who's just a great teacher and a great rider, and then Marie, her name is. So you have 3 people I know would be ecstatic to help the para people, and I think Greg Denicus would do this on a large basis. It's a matter of people getting exposed to him and him exposed to them, and form a working group that would promote para on the horse industry. You need somebody that big. Oh, goodness, they got 5,000 acres here, and they want to make an Olympic training center. They want to put Mary on the map. They're even thinking of sponsoring her with a horse. So, I mean, they're pretty dedicated.
Yeah, right. That's wonderful. I guess, and I hope we can follow up with that and talk some more about that. But we're running out of time, but we want to thank you so much, Michael, for joining us tonight and with your insight. And I hope that your presence in the para world will influence other big name trainers and maybe some great people with some great horses that can help us be successful. We thank Michael Poulin for his time, and we'll be right back after this message.
Jen here, host of the Horse Tip Daily Show on the Horse Radio Network. The way consumers interact with the brands they have trusted for years and those they are about to fall in love with for the first time is becoming more and more mobile, literally, and will continue to do so for the foreseeable future. Podcasts or internet radio shows like this one combine the new consumer preference for on-demand information and entertainment with the power of niche market audiences. Advertising on the Horse Radio Network podcasts allows you to reach the equestrian consumer using today's preferred on-demand delivery system. It's cost-effective and flexible, able to reinforce your existing marketing and social media strategies. To learn more about advertising on this show or any of the shows on the Horse Radio Network, contact us at 859-951-2022 or you can email us at glenn@horseradionetwork.com. That's Glenn with 2 N's at horseradionetwork.com. Come and join the Horse Radio Network family. You'll enjoy the ride.
So we're going to switch gears here a little bit and talk about our news. And upcoming, we're having the Para-Dressage Symposium. This one is November 20th to the 23rd in Winters, California, which is the funniest name in my mind, Winters, California. And it is for trainers and riders and auditors. And I think we have a full grouping now there. So we're going to have some fun out on the West Coast this November, right before Thanksgiving. And another thing I guess we have right before it is we are going to be featured, para-reining is being featured at the AQHA World Championship Show November 15th. And they are providing us some horses, and we're going to surprise everybody with who actually goes out and does the reining. But we have a few of our para-riders coming to Oklahoma, and they're going to be doing some reining on really nice reining horses. So we're excited about that.
I didn't even know there was para-reining.
Well, it's a newer thing. Actually, the AQHA, they do have reining for disabled riders, but they've always wanted to get a little bit more involved with para and kind of the start of a new discipline. So that's kind of what we're so excited about, too. It's a new para-reining.
Cool.
That sounds like so much fun. I am so tempted to put on my cowboy boots and find myself a hat and fly out there and be part of that.
Anybody willing to come, anybody can come, anybody can watch. It'll be November 15th, and it'll be over by 3 p.m. We'll be done. So if you come in the morning, stay till 3, and I think it'll be pretty exciting. And I'll be doing a little PR on it, so we'll hopefully have some pictures to send out. You can find our show notes and links to today's guests on the website at dressageradio.com. Like us on Facebook, just search for Dressage Radio Show. Download the Horse Radio Network app for iOS or Android in the App Store and search for Horse Radio Network. You can learn more about the United States Para-Equestrian Association at uspea.org or, of course, on Facebook.